Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 10. It's called The Legion of Doom. Full spoilers for the episode as always. And yeah, this really did focus on the Legion of Doom, so much so that the opening thing was dark, talking about the Legion. I mean, he didn't say, I really wanted to say at the end, we are the Legion of Doom, and he didn't. But it makes sense given that they've not called themselves that yet.
Yeah, what'll happen is they'll call them it, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, we'll go with that."
Yeah, because a couple of them are really trying to make it stick, and Sarah's just not having it.
She's not.
She's
just not.
Just not having it. Nate's trying his best, and
He is. The poor bastard's really going for it. He's really proud of it.
Now I'm going to warn you. I've got a funny feeling a good chunk of this one is probably going to be us trying to work out the time travel logic.
I think I've got it actually.
You think you've got it?
I think so. It was bothering me while I was watching it, but I think I got it. But we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, well, it's funny because as it was going on, right, and it got to the point where the legends, at least well half of them, give or take, were in the room and they had all the photos up of we need to try and figure out who this speedster is. This is priority one. Who is this speedster?
Okay, this was the most annoying thing. You're in Central City already. Go and ask Barry, you knobheads.
I know, go and ask Barry. That seemed like a stupid thing not to do. But at least they gave us the whole line where, and it was even Stein that said, yeah, but every evil speedster that Barry's fought is dead, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Right, so they had pictures, they had Wally up, they had Barry up, they had Jesse, Jay even was there. They had the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, who is this speedster? What could he be wanting? And they get to this point where, well, why does he need the Spear of Destiny if he's... And it's funny, because one of the plot holes we kind of had for... Well, I'll say plot hole, but last week I think we even mentioned, why was he not around for the whole... Why was it Why was it Dark and Merlin the whole episode? But where was he? Why did he just show up at the end? And this actually answered that when we got to the full explanation. But it's like, yeah, why does he not? Why does he need help? Why does he need anything to change history? Because he can travel through time anyway. What's going on? And then how one of them jumped to, oh, maybe he's trying to stop himself from being erased.
Yeah, that's a bit of a leap.
It's a giant leap. But
I think it was Nate. I was like, how the hell did you get to that?
As soon as he said it though, I was like, oh, this works quite well, except for Flashpoint. That was my first thought. I thought, I understand how that works to an extent, because we've spoken in the past, how can Reverse Flash still show up? But we're thinking, oh, maybe he's, and Stein just kind of raced off, he's in the Speed Force, it protected him, but he is gradually being sort of written out of history, and he's sort of running from it, right? Okay, fine. But I was like, yeah, but Flashpoint kind of messes with this, because he kind of just got to go away, because he was the one that killed the mum. But then I was like, well, maybe it didn't work like that. Maybe there was two Reverse Flashes, but the original one still had to stay there.
See, I was thinking the Reverse Flash we saw in Flashpoint was actually after he's fixed himself. Is one possibility.
It can't be, though, because he brings it up. Because I was thinking that at this point until later on. And Reverse Flash says, yeah, but... the Flash stole me and had me captured for months, and ever since then.
Right. So, yeah. Okay. So he took him away before Eddie shot himself in the timeline, right? When he ran back in time when he caused Flashpoint, whatever.
No. That's not when he took him from.
When did he take him from?
He took him from just before killing his mum.
Yeah. So that's before Eddie shot himself. That's what I meant. I didn't mean right before.
Yeah.
I meant before that event.
Barry, obviously spoilers for some of the Flash, by the way, in case you've not been watching it, but we have to talk about it. It's all very relevant.
Yeah.
So Barry goes back and stops Reverse Flash from killing his mum, knocks him out, and takes him captive, and he brings him back to present day, which is the Flashpoint version of present day, because everything's changed, and he has him in a cage. Right. That's how we start season 3 of the Flash.
Yeah.
Right. So far we're in agreement here. Okay. Cool. Then Barry realises, of course, no, this is messed up, I have to change things back, so he has to let Reverse Flash go and deal with his mum, right? Yeah. And after he does it, they just come back to present day, Norton, when, things are fixed, and Reverse Flash leaves him at his doorstep and says, well, Barry, I guess I'll see you when I see you, and he speeds off.
Okay, I don't have a problem.
I'm sorry?
I don't have a problem.
There's a problem here, though. How does season 1 of The Flash happen if he never gets stuck in the past? He never gets stuck in the past. He never had to become Wells. Season 1 of The Flash doesn't happen.
That is a separate problem in itself.
It's part of the same thing, though. It's all rolling. It's all rolling. It's all part of the same thing.
It's not. This is a separate thing. Because this one is saying, how can he exist when that happened, right? Why does he exist now, even though he should be out of it? And I think the idea is he took him from before Flashpoint, but then when he dropped him back, so he dropped him. He took him from the night his mum was killed. He dropped him in present day, and it was after he was dropped in present day that Black Flash starts chasing him. So it's only after that he realizes that this has all happened, because from when he was taken, it was
then
before that.
Then why does he mention his ancestor being shot to erase him?
Because that must still happen as well. They must both happen. Well,
you don't have shit. I've got this sorted. You
right.
said
no. I thought I did, but right. So after Barry changes back Flashpoint, right, to normal, so he goes and re-kills his mum essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The same stuff still happens as before, but then there is the extra Flash, the extra Reverse Flash that he brings with him then back to the present.
How is there a first Reverse Flash though that's still there in the past? He took him before he killed his mother. It's the same Reverse Flash.
I need to look at that scene in Flash again, I think. I'm just trying to think now. So if he took him from that night...
And he brought him to present-day Flashpoint, where he kept him in a cage.
Yeah. And then he took him back.
Uh-huh.
So at that point... then they kill the mother, right? This is where that happens.
Well, they's a bit strong, but Reverse Flash kills the mother, yes.
Well, yeah, Barry's complicit. I'm saying they. He's in on it this time. It counts.
Right.
So they're both there. But we also see there's still there was still multiple Barrys that night, right? Because that still was...
No, the season 1 Barry who was at the door faded away.
Right, yes, he did.
At the season 2 finale, he faded away when he first went back.
Yeah. Right, okay.
I'll keep going.
I'm thinking. So then he comes back to the present. So those events must happen in some form, though.
Well, they have to, but I don't understand how. I don't understand how they happened. Unless we go by the whole every time something
changes. It's the time remnant thing, isn't it? You know that we had with Hunter Zolomon all of last season, where he kept, there was the echo that still repeated his actions. Because that's how there was 2 of him, and he caught up to himself and killed him. So there was still a time remnant in the original timeline that let him stay trapped there. And then he gets erased. Right? You with me?
Okay.
So following their time remnant rules, that's what happens. So that's how season 1 still plays. It all plays out, but the whole time he was just a time remnant now instead. And then because this one's in the present now, he should have been taken out. He should have been taken out of existence, like at the end of season 1. But because he was removed from the timeline and placed here, that's how he's still in existence. And now Black Flash is chasing him to correct that, essentially.
Okay, the one thing I'll give it is it retroactively fixes why he can show up at all in the Flash.
Yes.
Because it showed up in season 2 and we were like, how can he even exist?
Yeah.
Right. It still doesn't explain though, if he's a time remnant, and in Flash season 1, if that was a time remnant from this diversion when Barry went back for Flashpoint, then why does he instantly fade away as soon as Eddie shoots himself if he's a remnant already?
Because he still would.
Why?
Well, I mean, what happens to the? I mean, do we ever see what happens to the other? When Hunter Zolomon is Jay, and he comes through at the end of season 2, and he reveals there was a time remnant. He tells us all that. Does that body? Would that have faded away?
No,
because it caught up. I don't know.
See, this is the problem. I don't think they've actually thought about their time travel rules that much, and they're trying to retroactively make it all fit, and I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
some of it just doesn't
I
actually
do
click.
think time remnant, but I'm just trying to think if it was a time remnant, would that?
Well, see, this is the thing. See if you took Flashpoint out of the equation, I'd understand it. Flashpoint's what messes it up. If you said, no, right, so Eddie shoots himself, that erases Eobard Thawne from history, but because he was part of the Speed Force and because he was running around from time to time, it kind of kept surviving. But the Time Wraiths are chasing him. In this case, it ends up being Black Flash, who's now part of the Time Wraiths, right?
Yeah.
That all makes sense to me, and it works. It works perfectly.
But no. Okay, so here's why the time remnants do work. They're not like ghosts, are they? They are memories, essentially. He does it and then does it again as someone else, essentially, right? So that still happened. Because when Hunter as Jay was being time remnants, he still did all those actions. They were corporeal people. They were still him. It wasn't like it was.
But how did Flashpoint make a time remnant? I don't understand how it made a time remnant. Because the way Jay made time remnant, or the way Hunter Zolomon made time remnants, is he went back in time, went to the future and got a version of himself and brought him to the same time period. So there was two of them.
Well, maybe Eobard went and made a time remnant just after this. I don't know.
You didn't have shit sorted.
I really thought it was the time remnants. But so if he made a time remnant, wait, after Barry brought him to the present, could he not have gone back and made a time remnant to keep that going?
Why would he go
but
back?
Then why would he do that?
Yeah, why would he do that?
Maybe Barry did it, and he's just fucking with timelines.
God.
I don't know.
You.
I had something in my head that kind of felt like it worked, and then you questioned it, and it clearly didn't.
No, it doesn't make. I appreciate what they're trying to do, right? I appreciate that they brought up Eddie shot himself. They brought up Flashpoint because I didn't think they were going to bring up Flashpoint, but he did.
Yeah.
So they're acknowledging everything that's happened, and I appreciate that. But it doesn't quite click together.
We need a diagram.
There needs to be a diagram. We need that thing the Flash always has with the glass, and we draw. They draw in the glass.
Yeah, just a fancy whiteboard.
We need that. Aye, we need one of those, and we need to really get to the bottom of this because it doesn't really quite work.
We may have to make some diagrams and just kind of insert these afterwards. I think.
I'll make a diagram in paint and I'll put it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the problem though. Is we haven't even figured it out. It'd be one thing if we figured it out, but it's hard to explain, so we need a diagram. We haven't got.
Yeah,
to
but
a
we can
solution.
knock up a diagram to see the closest we can get. And we go, look down there. If we did it, it's there. Cool stuff. Go us. If not, it's not happening, is it?
Right. So forgetting all that, let's just take it for granted. It happened somehow. It happened. And it's still a thing. Fine. See, this is the thing. Do you know what? Okay, not to harp on it, right? But this is the thing. I think it works with one or the other. It works with Eddie shot himself, and he's erasing himself from existence, so he has to try and fix it, right?
Yeah.
Or it works as it's just the Flashpoint, and because he's not supposed to be there because Barry messed with the timeline, then fine. Like,
Right.
This version of him's not supposed to exist. Right? But it's when you put them together, it doesn't quite add up because it doesn't feel like that should have still happened as a result of that.
Yeah. And to be fair, that's not a problem exclusive to this show because obviously, like we said, when he shows up in Flash in general, it's still an issue.
This is more of a Flash thing than anything. It's just that this show tried to explain it, and I actually appreciate that it tried to solve a lot of it. And it almost feels very meta, where the characters are like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and Stein's just like, it's possible. And that's just kind of what we have to go with.
I mean, yeah. There has to be a way that season 1 of The Flash happened. Regardless, because even if you ignore like all this other stuff, the Reverse Flash showed up in season 2. So that was.
Oh wait, hang on. I've got an idea. Right.
Okay, go on.
So Barry stops Thawne from killing his mum. Right.
Yep.
And then Flashpoint happens, decide no, we need to go back and let it happen. What if instead of going in and killing the mum, they instead just stop the other versions interrupting the action, so it's the original Reverse Flash.
And that still gets trapped, and then the two of them come to the present.
Yeah! I think that works.
But do they not fade away? Is that what you were saying to me?
Well, the original Barry season. This is the thing. Barry season 1 fading away was actually a plot hole in and of itself at the time, because the way we'd seen this happen before, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is we've still not seen a version of Barry that goes back to that time, who holds up his hand and tells younger Barry not to interfere. Unless that is post Flashpoint Barry, and they just never showed us it.
I think that is supposed to be the post Flashpoint.
Which is weird, because they should have showed us it just to make that moment stick.
Yeah, did they not show us? This was a few months ago now, so I'm kind of vague.
No, they didn't show it. They didn't show the actual in the house again. I don't think. At least I don't remember them doing it.
I don't remember it now.
But that's how it makes sense to me now, actually. So they went back and stopped other Flash.
They stopped other Barry.
Yeah.
Taking him from the timeline in the first place.
Yes, and let it just play out.
Yeah. So they stop the Barry at the end of season 2 that runs back. They just stop him taking Thawne.
Aye, they stop him interfering. Yes.
Yeah, and then
original Thawne still kills Barry's mum and comes back, but
then we have this second Thawne.
Yes, who is an aberration who should have faded away, but he hasn't because he's running.
We've got it.
Now, admittedly, I had to make a couple of leaps there and assume that that's how they did it, because they never showed us. They just said that.
But that would make it work.
But that would make it work. So as long as they don't contradict what I just said, at some point...
We're cracking.
We've done it. We are 16 minutes into this, and we've not spoken about anything else.
God damn you, Barry Allen. Stop messing with the timeline.
Okay, right, So,
first things... I actually really liked the the opening of how it was dark, but then the title screen comes up and it was a different version of the theme.
It was like an evil version of the same theme.
Yeah, it was really nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and that was cool. And also, I don't know if it was you that said it last week or if I read someone else say this on Twitter since last week, but it was either you or someone else complained, it kind of sucks how Dark and Merlin are just kind of like his lackeys, they're just his henchmen. They feel like the lesser ones. Was that you that said that, or was it someone else?
I think we mentioned it.
Okay, I can't remember who mentioned it, but I remember it being a thing, and immediately they start talking about it. It's like, we're his lackeys, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're dealing with this. They're actually dealing with the stuff that we were kind of talking about, or someone was talking about. And
also, it got the biggest laugh out of me almost immediately.
Flashback to 8 months ago.
8 months ago, yeah. Don't skip over this.
This
is the best moment of the episode.
But yeah, we start off, because at first I was like, because it shows you Dark being killed on the news by Green Arrow, and I'm like,
also, I'm a bit concerned about that. There was this whole riot and fight going on, and someone's there filming it on their phone? What the goddamn hell are you doing? Ugh.
All I could think was, don't show me more of that fight. That was a terrible fight. Don't show me more of that Green Arrow Dark fight.
Do not remind us, yeah.
But then, so it's Malcolm sitting sort of just sulking with his booze. He's a drunk. He doesn't care about anything. And then in comes Thawne and Dark. Past Dark, who he's got from, I think it said 38 years, something like that.
I think it's from the 80s.
Yeah, was it the 80s? Yeah. He comes back and they sort of introduce, and it's Thawne who's like, yes, is it Thawne? It's Thawne who says, this is Malcolm Merlin. He used to be Ra's al Ghul.
Oh my god, I had to pause it immediately and I couldn't stop laughing.
I was laughing so much. And then later on, it comes up again because Dark even leans in. It's Rip sitting there, and they're sort of bickering as he's sitting there. He's like, by the way, this is where he tells us he used to be Ra's al Ghul. Oh my god. I was laughing so much.
It is the single best running joke that has come from Arrow.
Do you know what the funny thing is, though? Is I don't even think it was supposed to be a running... I think we made it a running joke, because he said it a couple of times.
Maybe, but this is clearly them addressing it, and this was... Googie co-wrote this.
But... Because we thought it was funny, and we kept saying it again. It used to be Ra's al Ghul, And then they've taken it and they've made it a thing. So it follows them. They're trying to get something in a vault. Dark pulls out Malcolm pulls out Dark pulls out a tooth.
Yeah, because Malcolm tries to hypnotise him.
I keep mixing up who did what, because they're all evil.
Because they're both just equal henchmen at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And they find out there's something in a vault, and Reverse Flash like, I need to go, and they bring up, why does he keep having to leave? And because that was a plot hole we said, why does he keep not being around? It's weird. Surely he could just do everything himself if he was. But they address all of this. It all comes up.
Yeah.
And they get to this vault, and they have this little bit of a debate in it. Then it's actually Rip, or Phil I should say, who's like, this is the good and the bad and the ugly. You're all just going to lose because you're all going to bicker against each other. You have to
Yeah.
Which for him would have been like a new movie because he came from like the late 60s.
Yeah, you're right. I was trying to figure out when he was.
It was like
But,
67, 68, wasn't it?
yeah, because he's a hippie.
Aye. And that movie came out in 66, if I remember correctly, so
Sounds about right.
it'd be a brand new movie for him.
Yeah.
It's something he just saw at the movies like a year ago, if that.
Yeah.
So he's pulling out the good, the bad, and the ugly reference.
But it works really well.
It works really well, and then they trap Reverse Flash in the vault, and they find out the thing that they've got is Rip's memory. He's stored them all here, and that's all cool.
I was a little concerned at first because I was like, how are they trapping him in the vault? Like Thorne's like, yeah, let me out or I'll kill you. And it's like, yeah, but can't you run through? And then they kind of address it in a bit.
There's more to it. It's not just
doors.
Yeah. Also, I think the fact that they say Black Flash will eventually get out, it won't take that long, makes me think he still can phase through, but because it's such a thick wall, it'll...
Maybe it's just as we saw Black Flash trying to run out, like
there was a laser
thing kind of came up this grid and like knocked him back.
They never explained that, but honestly, I think this episode did such a good job of like establishing this team of villains and correcting the problems that we could have looked at it and went, oh, this doesn't work because he's too much powerful, and they've given him a weakness. They've given them a reason to all work together now, and it was funny when he started to say, because we'd heard from news that Black Flash was going to pop up in Legends, multiple shows even, I think they said, but Legends was the first one, and it was like, oh, as soon as he started talking, oh, something's chasing me, I'm like, oh, it's Black Flash.
I know. I kind of wish we didn't know.
Yeah,
when he showed up would have been amazing.
It's kind of a shame. It's the problem with internet news cycles. They have to announce everything, and I wish they hadn't. I wish they kept this a secret.
I know.
It's
because they have to, just to make sure you tune in.
Well, not us. We're just going to watch it anyway.
No, not us, but it's anyone who just watches Flash. It's another attempt at going, hey, some of you liking Flashes over there.
It sucks because it would have been such an exciting thing when he just because he's like, oh, there's something when it cut to that shot of like it's behind him and then it comes round and you see his like face that's half melted off. CG of course was hit and miss through because it was completely CG I think all the time. I don't think there was a single moment where it was a guy in a suit or whatever.
But then you had him T-Rex, for a lack of a better term.
Oh, you mean he roars?
No. Like the entire scene is just the T-Rex in Jurassic Park.
Oh, right, I know what you mean. Yeah. It's like if you don't move, he can't see you because he's detecting the Speed Force. I don't know why that means the other two had to stay still.
I don't think they did. I think they were just
moral support. We'll do it too.
Yeah.
We'll do it too. Fun.
Yeah. I was a little bit concerned. I was like, you're connected to the Speed Force at all times.
It didn't quite add up for me.
And I always thought, okay, he just can't use his speed. That's a cool limitation. Not he can't move at all.
Yeah, I thought he could still walk, just normal.
Yeah, because I thought that would have been a really cool limitation to keep him around in like one time zone for a certain period, like keep them with the group where he's got to act normal and can't use his speed, and it'll be like moments where he does, and it's like, oh, this is important.
Yeah, and I almost thought it was going to have like a walking through, like slowly. Like he can get past, he just has to walk through. That'd have been a nice tense scene. I guess it kind of works. I mean, I guess maybe the logic here is that it like the Speed Force he's always connected, but it doesn't like flare up unless he's actually actively having lightning shoot off him.
Like I said, I thought it was the actual speed rather than just moving at all.
Yeah. That said, it made for a fun scene. Like
it did.
Black Flash going around sniffing things and like roaring. And,
it was great.
Yeah, and then they sort of work together as a unified team, which makes them more interesting to trap. And then, of course, their end game, what they do with because Thawne reprograms Rip's mind to turn him into a villain. They use him as an assassin to kill George Washington. It looks like at the end. Yeah,
I assume next week is solving that.
Yeah, the Legends might go back and deal with it. But I thought it did a really good job of making me actually care about this. I mean, I thought it was cool but honestly, I liked Reverse Flash. I wasn't super fussed about the other two. I think I enjoyed them last time for the comedy fun. Yeah, like the elevator moments, stuff like that. And I like Malcolm in general. Yeah, I like that. But I didn't necessarily care about them as a team. But this episode did a lot to make that work. Do you know what I'm really looking forward to? Snart coming in and changing up the whole dynamic. Yeah. And now I'm thinking that Reverse Flash will probably just snatch him from when he dies. Maybe, yeah. Maybe reprogram him a la Rip to make him proper evil, but then... Or just take him from earlier. Yeah, maybe. He might just take him from like season 1 Flash time. Yeah. Could do. Which should be interesting when he pop... Again, this is the sort of thing I kind of wish we didn't know. I agree. I wish we didn't know that Captain Cole was going to be on the team at some point, because it would work better. It is,
it's ruined it this whole season because we've known for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew
And
before the season even started, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously it kind of deflated his thing at the end of last season where we spent this whole going, well, we know he's back in some form or another. So it's like, yeah, okay.
Because his death in season 1, it was like 2 days after that, or before. Is that 2 days before?
I think it was after.
Yeah, but it was like 2 days after. Oh, he's a regular for all 4 CW DC shows. Which, by the way, we had a whole debate before Christmas. I was like, they've not used them all this first chunk in any of the shows. This is really weird. Obviously, they had the one episode where Mick was seeing a ghost of him in his head, so that counts, of course. But other than that, like, we're now at a point where there's not really because your argument was, if he was in every single episode of all the 4 shows for the rest of the year, it'd still add up to 22, and we're getting to a point now where that's not even true.
No, that's true.
We're getting late. Maybe they've got more planned for him later, but that's where we are. So villain stuff, cool. Legion of Doom, pretty sound. We had to really do some thinking to work out the logic behind of a few things, but
I think we'll still try and maybe knock up a diagram for people.
Maybe you can work in that while I'm editing the video. Give me a diagram, Connor. Which, by the way, obviously I like that Stein, as soon as Nate's like, what if it's someone who is trying to stop himself from being erased from existence, he knows enough about what happened at the end of season 1 because he was around, that he's went Eobard Thawne. And the reason why before he didn't bring him up, because he thought he was dead. He thought there was nothing to...
Yeah.
Because I don't think he was around in the season 2 episode where he showed back up.
No, he can't have been.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense that he wouldn't have this idea until...
But if they'd just gone and spoke to Barry...
I agree. They should have spoke to Barry. They should have done that episodes ago. As soon as they knew there was a speedster, they should have went, let's go talk to Barry.
Yeah, and it was annoying enough, but they were literally in Central City.
Well, not even that. They had a crossover a few episodes ago where they were all with Barry in the same scene, and not one of them thought, hey, Barry... any speedsters we should know about? Because there's one causing some trouble.
I know. It's just like, it's lazy writing. It is. There's no excuse. It's like, we can't think of a way to have this have any impact if they mention Eobard to them.
Yeah. What they should have done is they should have had this... We should have had... We said this about the crossover at the time. We should have had an extra episode or 2 in the crossover to let things breathe. One of the things they should have added in was this revelation. They should have had this with Barry in the room. They
had it back there, yeah.
Yeah, that's when they should have done it, and it would have made more sense.
And then you would have had Barry going, oh, wait, this is almost my fault.
Because it ties into Flashpoint, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's something else that Barry can be blamed for.
Damn it, Barry.
So it would have even worked thematically with everything else that was going on in the episode.
Yeah.
It may have been a wee bit dark though, because Reverse Flash then killed Vixen's friend, and then she might have been like, oh.
Do you know how I realise this is going to get really confusing soon?
Yeah.
Because Eddie's coming back.
Different Earth, he has to be.
Oh, I really hope so. Otherwise, this is taking a real twist off the deep end.
Unless they somehow reveal that season 1 didn't happen the way we think it did. And then it throws a lot of what we just said out the window.
Yeah.
But then, like, it'd be one thing for Stein. Oh, no, Stein would remember it anyway, because no one else remembers stuff the way it happened before. You know, like in Flash, I mean, like everyone remembers the new version of the events. Yeah. So yeah, forget about that point. But yeah, so Stein remembers. That's cool. And they're like, okay, it's Eobard Thawne. Why is he doing this? And they theorise, and that's fine. So the other main plot of the episode is Stein's daughter.
Yes.
Because they've got the disc thing, the thing that the villains had last week. Amulet, sure. And they realise, there's probably data we can get off this for science reasons. I don't know. I don't even know how to
Well, no, they don't even know what it is. They're like, well, it's got to be activated somehow. And they're like, well, maybe we can do it scientifically instead of...
Sure. But then they find out there's data on it, so they try and cook it up to the computer to...
Yeah. Once they know, they don't try that till once they realise it is holding data.
Because this is why they go to Central City, present day, because they want to get Stein's... Because Stein's like, I've got a colleague, and he takes Jax, and Jack's like, it's your daughter? Oh, damn, this is weird and whatnot. And I love that they accidentally activate it in jitters at it.
Yeah, Jack's like, whoa, away, what's going on?
Which, by the way, it's funny how both this and Flash used a set from a different show this week.
Yeah, it is.
Because Flash used Catco for a scene, and then this used Jitters for a scene. It's kind of funny. But, Yeah, so the whole thing is they crack all these jokes at the start, which, by the way, Mick's sitting eating like a stack of donuts just randomly.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I want donuts now. God damn you, Mick. And
Just calling them idiots.
yeah, calling them idiots, that was really fun. But when he brings the daughter on the ship and the daughter's off like screen for a minute, he's like, right, no one tell her she's an aberration, please. And he looks at Mick and Mick's like, why are you looking at me? And then sure enough, later on, like Ray's like showing off all the fake food, like the thing that can just synthesize it. And he's like, oh, this champagne's great. Oh, this caviar's great. And then Mick's just like, aye, fake food for a fake human or a fake girl.
Fake person.
Fake person was it? And she's like, what do you mean by that? Like, and he tries to walk out. She's like, no, what do you mean by that? He's like, oh, it's he said it's you're a. What's the words he said? He says like
abrasion is one of them.
And then it was aphilia or I don't know. He says the wrong word. He says like two or three different wrong things. He's like, oh, it's you're an aberration.
Yeah.
And we get the whole scene, and it's. I thought like this is one of those CW plots that could have felt like it was just playing for the drama, and it made it feel a bit forced. I think it worked a little bit better than it might have done. Partly because I think his daughter's actually not a bad actress, and she's doing a good job of feeling like she's Stein, like it's the Stein-like. She's she's a Stein.
Yeah.
She feels like she's a Stein, and I think his like genuine. I never wanted to be a father because my father was a bit of a asshole, and I didn't want to be that. But I think ultimately the reason why it worked though is because his little speech about, oh, okay, look, I didn't want kids, but life has this funny way of giving us what we need rather than what we want.
Yeah.
And there's a nice enough sentiment, and it worked well enough. And
because the whole plot, I didn't think it was particularly good. But
it wasn't as bad as you.
No, it wasn't. It was very by the numbers, wasn't it? It was exactly what you expected this to play out, pretty much. It's like, okay, that's fine. It had to be done at some point, so you might as well just do it.
Yeah, and it's left her in a place where they can call her for help, and she can pop in occasionally for things. Yeah. And that's fine.
And at some point, Stein's gonna get offed, and they're gonna have to replace the other half of Firestorm with her.
Oh, you think they're planning that already?
Calling it.
Yeah. So you think Jax and daughter Stein will be
Lily? I think.
Lily. Yeah. You think they're going to be?
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna be the new Firestorm.
So she's going to be inside him.
Yes.
See, it's not sexual until it's a woman. Now we're thinking all sorts of weird.
Well, dude, you brought this up. I was just saying, I think that's the route they'll go.
Well, it's funny because they brought up the whole psychic mind link thing, and like Jax comes in like, you're going through weird emotions right now. I never felt this. What's going on, right? So what if he's connected to Lily, right? And Lily's going through like a woman thing.
Yeah.
Time of the month, that kind of thing. Like, I can see some great comic potential.
Yeah, of him having to experience that for the first time.
Of him experiencing that for the first time, like through her psychically.
Yeah. Oh, I want this to happen now, just for stuff like that. I think it'd be really good.
What if she gets pregnant as well, and they're still psychically linked, and she's going through labour, and
he has cravings,
and he's got cravings as well. Yeah. Oh, this is potential here.
I want this to happen.
This is not bad. I don't want to kill. I like Stein, but
I like Stein as well. But I feel like at some point I can see that sort of happening. They're positioning her as like you said, she's very Stein-like. She is kind of that same role that she fills, but it would shake things up a bit.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, that could be a thing. Other than that, just lots of little tidbits of humour and stuff sprinkled throughout. I think. Again, I've said this a lot this season, but season 1 gets so repetitive, and it just had poor characters, had poor romance plots, and it got very repetitive. It was just, let's chase Vandal Savage to another time period.
Who was an atrocious villain, like they accepted.
Yeah, in the last episode when they poked fun at it. Yeah. Whereas here, again, this felt like it's such a different episode. It felt like such a different thing that was advancing the main plot because it was focusing on why the villains are doing what they're doing. Even like you can already see next time is okay. They've got to go stop Rip as. Back in the past. And it's kind of similar to the general formula. Oh, something's gone wrong. Someone's affected some of history and they've got to change it. But it's a personal thing. So yeah, because once they learn Rip's been not brainwashed, essentially, they will have a different reaction to that, and it'll make it more of a personal plight to try and save him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm really digging this season.
It's pretty solid. Sure, I think we have minor nitpicks here or there, but for the most part, keeping up the pace. Characters are fun. I like Nate. I like Vixen. I'm glad the Hawks
I
are
feel
gone.
like the Vixen hasn't had enough to do in a while.
In a while, not since they went to I think it was the 80s and they ran into Obsidian.
Yeah,
I think,
because obviously, like Nate, even when he's not as Steel, he has a lot of stuff to do based on his role as the historian. Like even in this one, like he was the one who came up with the whole theory. Whereas Vixen, I feel a lot of the time she's just kind of standing around.
until it's time to fight, and then she's got animal powers. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to see a bit more.
yeah. Maybe they'll work some stuff in. I feel like the one thing they've been doing really well recently is they've been kind of acknowledging that what wasn't working before,
Yeah,
and maybe that's something they will sort of see. And maybe as we get towards the end of the season, we'll see more. But
it might even be a next season thing where they fix it, but it's
yeah.
not compared to last season's problems. Phew, I'm more
Oh yeah,
than okay
because
with
she's
that.
still at least likable when she's doing stuff. It's just there's not as much
It's
of it.
actually almost similar to what we were saying about Iris on the Flash, where for a long time she was just kind of there, but when she's been brought into her own, she's really interesting. And I feel the same with Vixen. It's like when we get to see her, she's really interesting, and I like her, but she just doesn't get enough to do.
Yeah. There you go. That's Legends. That is the longest we've been in Legends in a while, but that's what happens when we have 15 minutes of nothing but time travel talk.
To be fair, even without that, this wasn't short.
It wasn't, but so it was a good sign. Usually, if we go long, it's because we had a lot to talk about and there was things to really dissect. But we kind of figured it out. We figured the time travel between Legends and the Flash, how that
Just damn it, Barry.
kind of we kind of. Although this is the thing, I honestly believe that they're going to show us something or do something in a future episode, which will
That ruins this.
that'll throw
Yeah.
it all out.
Yeah, because
They-
we are not done at that night.
we're not. By the time we finish the Flash, by the time Flash is finished, it's 8, 9 seasons, whatever long it's going to go. I guarantee you, on that night there'll be at least 6 Flashes, 8 Reverse Flashes, maybe a Grodd, a Black Flash.
I wouldn't put it past there being a king shark, to be honest with you.
It's, you know what? Nora Allen's death is going to be like the biggest part of the century by the time we're all said and done.
Is the most pivotal moment in the entire DCW verse.
And our name's not Martha, and that's what's important.
Damn right.
Thank you very much for watching, guys. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Guys on Twitter, at mailed_fuzz. Our individual Twitters on the screen. And before I forget how to speak because we've done 3 shows tonight, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next. I'll try not to hit the desk when I say that. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.